Well, hello, 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 and welcome to Perfectly Twisted with Nicole and Dave.
How you doing, Nicole?
Hi, Dave. I'm doing well.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. Nice weather. It feels like Southern California. I love it.
Finally, but then they're talking about rain again next week. So I'm just like, I am at this point throwing in the towel and going with the flow. I guess any day that it's not blazing hot out is a blessing. So, but yes,
Exactly.
It's beautiful. It's funny how my
Exactly
mood
right.
changed too. I was like down in the dumps when it was raining, and then the sun comes out, and so does my soul.
There you go. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah. So we have a really fun guest today, really fun. And then I also have a product alert real quick before we get started. The whole contouring thing, and you know all about that, Dave, is really on trend right now. And there's a company, and I see the commercials all the time, and it's like all you need is these 3 products, and like you're good to go. But it's like $100, and I was always so tempted to purchase it, and I couldn't pull the trigger on $100. So I started doing some research, and I found this company called Natural Face Multifunction, and it's a three process. So you have your contour, your color, your blush, and your highlighter. And it comes with a brush, the perfect little brush to blend. This kit, and it comes in light, medium, and dark. I have the medium, but you can pick. I got it on Amazon, and I will put it in my Amazon list for $12.99. Okay,
Nice.
$12.99. You can't beat that. So I order it. I'm super excited, and I'm like, let's see. Totally test approved, kid approved. It disappears all the time. I'm like, where is it? And it's great. It's honestly great. It goes on smooth, not thick. It's easy to blend out because I don't know about you ladies, but I have a hard time, and gentlemen, blending the side because you can't see the side of your face. So unless you've got like the perfect mirror setup, which I don't, it's hard. It's hard to blend it out. But I've been doing it with this brush, and then I go up to my daughter and I'm like, "Am I blended? Am I blended?" She's like, "Yeah, it looks great." So 2 thumbs up for this. Again, Natural Face, Amazon, $12.99. I love it. And you know what they say with all these is you can use the blush for your lips, for your eyes, for your cheeks. You can do all of that. And I just love it. I think it's a great everyday product, and I highly recommend it.
There you go.
Yes. So we have a fantastic guest. She is legend. We all grew up as she grew up. We watched her grow up on one of the best shows on TV. She was president of SAG for a number of years. She has an amazing website and app, which I hope she talks about with us, Modern Prairie, which is so cool, so eco-friendly, and I almost want to say it's almost conservative too. And I was sitting there thinking, oh, this must be like, women who dress conservatively. This must be their dream. And then I was like, wait a minute, do they have the internet? It's like, do they have the internet? Anyways, I highly recommend you check out that website and that app. I was on it all morning. So let me introduce Miss Melissa Gilbert.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
Today's a good day. Today I am in a good mood.
Well, that's good. I'm glad I don't get cranky Nicole.
Yeah. No, cranky Nicole is not cute.
Neither is cranky Melissa.
Yeah.
Not good.
I mean, you got to have bad days to have good days, right?
Exactly.
So tell me about Modern Prairie, because it's so cool. I'm big on eco-friendly stuff, so I was sitting there going, "Well, wait a minute," and I just kept going. How did you come up with the concept? Because it's so on brand. It's like it's like a niche market. Like this is not an oversaturated market. So I found it genius.
Oh, bless your heart. Thank you so much. You know what? I'm having the best time. My partner, Nicole Hazy, is a genius, and she comes from, this is her world. She started tabletop for Williams-Sonoma. I mean, she's like major. And so when we started talking about what this brand was going to be, it of course, we're business women. There's a retail component. not there just because it's pretty and fun. We are smart businesswomen. But there is an element to it with the app and the community and our events that adds an emotionality and connectedness. And it really is, it's all of our makers are women. All of our products are made by women, all of our, or families. All of our products are we try to be as eco-friendly as we can, especially with our clothing. We with our leftover fabrics, we make patchwork things. We're constantly reusing, and recycling. But what we've provided is this, and has grown without, we sort of built it and they came, to quote sort of a line from one of my husband's movies. And it's this community of women, generally over 40, over 50, seasoned, gorgeous, vibrant, vital, incredible women who feel like I do, that because we're aging, we're marginalized. And we're either like the crazy old lady who lives across the street, stay away from her, or she's just don't even pay attention to her. She's just a, doddering old fool. And we are so much more than that. And so this is a place where women can share their stories of strength and resilience. And, we're going through so much at this age too. Lives are changing, not just our bodies and hormones and all of that, which is obvious. But a lot of us are reassessing our jobs. Do we want to be doing this for the last third of our lives? Do we want to do something different? Do we want to learn that craft we've been putting off? Do we want to stay married? We're losing parents now, spouses. Lives are going through these major changes. So we provided a space where women can support each other through all of this and encourage one another. And we have these great events from, like how to travel by yourself for the first time, to how to make a perfect pie crust, to how to deal with grief during the holidays. So it's all there. And it really is it's very modern Prairie, because of course we have the internet and that's how we connect. But the issues are still very much the same issues we've always had, of love and community and family and one another. And it's funny that you said that the dresses were conservative. We actually have some ladies who think they're a little low cut, so we're making some that are actually a little more conservative. I'm actually wearing one of our blouses today, which I think is, lovely and soft and pretty. I love our clothes just because they're so easy and functional and fun.
And feminine.
And feminine, definitely feminine. I mean, who doesn't want to have pretty and affordable things in their lives? It just makes you feel better. If you're feeling, when you're feeling awful, it's nice to put on something that makes you feel pretty, but it's comfortable and it's easy and it's, low maintenance and stress-free. All our dresses have pockets. Everything is totally built for comfort and convenience, but looks really pretty.
Yeah, really feminine and pretty. Because a lot of times when you get into comfy, loose clothing, you get into very frumpy. So
you start to look like a mechanic.
Yeah. A mechanic, or you're going to a luau. I'm not sure. But
Exactly. No, we don't sell muumuus. We sell lovely dresses. And then also they have all our dresses have buttons on the side with ties. So you can either wear them loose or you can tie them tight or medium or take the ties off.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. And we have pajamas. And then this year we launched 50 Years of Loving Laura, because it's the 50th anniversary of Little House on the Prairie, which is, I can't. And so we did a line of bonnets. We did actual sunbonnets and we leaned into the prairie aesthetic, the older aesthetic. And that stuff sold out so fast. So we're bringing a lot of things back this year too. So it'll be a continuing the 50-year anniversary will last all year.
I love that. And especially because you live on farm land, right? So women who garden or outside or farming, all that stuff, it's so perfect for that.
Yeah, it's all tested and tried and true. It's stuff that I wear to garden and hang out in upstate. We have 40 acres in the woods in the Catskills, and we have a vegetable and fruit garden and flowers and chickens. And so in the summer, I'm in one of our dresses with muck boots, And in the winter, and for gardening, we have these great overalls that have pockets to put pads in on the knees. So when you're, kneeling and gardening, you're not hurting your knees. But they're really cute. They've got flowers all over them. It's
Really
just
cute.
fun. Yeah. So you don't feel, like a frump. You feel, cute and pretty while you're doing all this, while you're getting dirt under your fingernails.
Yeah, because why not?
Why not?
Why not? So if you haven't checked out the website, you have an app too, correct?
Yes, the Modern Prairie app. Although we can't legally really discriminate, but it is an app for women only. So there is a community of women there, or people who identify as women. I should make that very clear.
And when is there anything live, or you go on and like you can post? Is the conversation like text?
It is a text app, but you can post videos. I post videos all the time. My Nicole, my partner, and I go live once a month in the app. You can go live on the app too.
That's so fun.
It's really great, and the women are very open. I mean, they're sharing. We've had a couple of people. There's one woman on the app right now whose husband's going through a medical crisis, and the entire community's just closed in around her to lift her up. And a lot of the women, I'm watching these exchanges. Women on the app are nurses and are advising her about her husband's care. And you don't get that on Twitter or whatever the thing is called now, X.
No, you sure don't.
No, you don't.
You certainly don't. No.
You
get a whole bunch of
troll.
nice comments and then one that just brings you right back down.
It's so horrible out there. That's why we wanted to create this safe space where women can gather and share without fear of, trolls saying horrible things about them.
We need so much more of that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we
do. There can never be enough of that because there just can't. Thank God things like this are a thing now finally, but we need more. So
yeah, I just feel like the world's getting mean. People are just
really
mean.
is. It really is. These people that are like on their keyboards, they really need to get outside, and go for a walk and like get some fresh air,
And 9 times out of 10, they would never say what they type to your face.
No, but
Ever.
these thoughts are going through their brain, right? So even though they don't have enough guts to say it in person, these people are thinking these thoughts, and it's like that's only damaging themselves. And
listen, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, because I've gotten to a point now where they don't bother me, but I worry about them when they say these harmful, hurtful things. I worry more about their mental health and their physical health and everything else that thinking bad thoughts creates. So,
my therapist used to say, I used to, I would say, God, I just had the most horrible thoughts and I feel so bad. And she used to say to me all the time, it's okay. Everybody has a murderer in them. You just don't listen to it.
Right. It's true.
Listen to it.
Yeah. Or you acknowledge it and then you say goodbye to it,
That's a dumb idea. I don't think I'll be using that one.
Yeah.
I think,
that one will put me behind bars.
Yeah, no, that won't work for my kids or my grandkids. So no.
This is not going to be fun. Yes. I even do that with like negative thoughts. I'll go to a dark place sometimes. And then I'm like, okay, I think it's normal to go to a dark place, but you have to stop that, and like turn it around. People have to really work on their inner dialogue rather than taking it out on other people.
Well, as you know, too, it makes a world of difference in your physical well-being when your body's going through something.
Yes, it does. It really does. And even when you're not going through something, right? I feel like it can create diagnosis. Like I feel like
oh boy.
I feel like holding on to stuff, not dealing with trauma, having negative thoughts or bad thoughts all the time and never like parenting yourself and comforting yourself. I think all of this contributes along with bad nutrition and everything else, but and environmental issues. But if we could all start there, I feel like a lot of us would be a lot more healthy.
I agree. I can't tell you how many times over the years before I learned how to have a voice, I would stuff feelings and trauma and emotions and all that. And I inevitably ended up with having to have a cyst removed from an ovary or my appendix bursting or some horrendous, I would go. And I wouldn't get a cold. I would get pneumonia. And it was my body's way of going, oh, this stuff is in here. You have to let it out. You have to. And I finally found my voice and found a way to let a lot of it out. And a much more physically healthy person because of it.
I'm a big believer in that. And yeah, it's funny because the medical world hasn't quite caught up with that either. And I wait for that day. I can't wait. And I don't want to say all medical people, but a lot of our general, doctors are just not. They're still not showing patients to connect the dots between nutrition, mental health, and physical health.
Oh,
So
yeah.
And
Well,
only
I
I can
mean,
say that because I'm working with so many doctors right now, and it's like it's still this thing of like, what should I eat? Oh, just eat whatever. Just you're fine. It's like
yeah,
no.
no, our entire system is the medical system in this country is built on sickness, not wellness. And it's a self-fulfilling or self-eating machine, actually, or self-fulfilling prophecy. We just keep making sick people so that we can keep funding the system that has been put in place.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. But the problem is that now they've created so many sick people, there's not enough room. So now you're on hold and you're in waiting rooms and you're
Right.
waiting for treatments, and it's just so oversaturated that it's gone too far.
Yeah, I know. We're walking through this a little bit with my mom's been having minor health issues. She's going to be 88 years old, but health issues, and she's had to have a couple little procedures because of it. And the impersonal treatment of, this almost 88-year-old woman who's really nervous and scared, and they take her away from us. And my sister and I are like, wait, but we need to be there to talk you through. You can't start an IV on her like a normal person. You need the ultrasound. And they just, nope, no one can go back. No one can go back. No one can go back. And, they come and get us 45 minutes later, and her mother's got black and blue marks all over her arms because they couldn't start the IV. It's so simple and tiny, but anyway, it's very frustrating.
It is.
And this is why there are people who will pay for concierge doctors and have private, if you can afford it, great. But if you can't, you're in the system.
Yeah. You're just another number, another statistic. I know. I mean, for my own treatment, I was feeling like I was in that process, and I finally was like, wait, and I was supposed to start a treatment on Monday, and it was like a Wednesday. And I just was like, who's the top at the hospital near me? And I just went in there in that office, and I just was like, you have to know me. You have to get to know me. And before I knew it, he had all three heads in the room, and who couldn't be in the room or on the phone. And I was like, okay, this is where I need to be. And I canceled the other treatment. But I just had something in me that was like, no, this isn't good enough. But I've got, a set of balls on me, whereas other people, it's also overwhelming that it's hard to self-advocate, right? It's hard to be all of these things.
Yeah.
So for me, it took my energy to just walk in there and go, listen to me. And not all people can do that. And it's just frightening.
No. Well, because we're taught to have this sort of undue respect for people in the medical field because they're supposed to know so much more than we do. It's so, I mean, when in fact we should know more about our own bodies than they do, and they actually work for us and
Right.
with us, and it is perfectly within our rights to advocate for our own health and well-being. And I've been known to call meetings. I just say to whatever I'm going through at that moment, the group of doctors that I'm working with, okay guys, we're all going to lunch. I'm making a reservation. I want everyone to talk with everyone. I'll pay you for your time. But this is what is going to happen. I did this with my kids too when they were going through. My youngest one was severely premature and had some learning glitches because of that. And so he had a whole team, speech language pathologist, occupational therapist, teachers, and principal. And I got them all together once a month and said, I'll even pay you for the hour, but you guys have to be coordinated.
It's funny how we can just advocate like that for our kids, though, huh? That's a whole
That's a whole other thing. I mean, that's just mama bear stuff.
It is. It's funny because I don't think I would advocate for myself if I didn't have my kids. If I didn't learn to like speak up for them and be so protective over them, I don't know that I ever would have been that for myself, because I wasn't when I was younger. I was the most timid, insecure, shy, self-loathing person. And I just, I would have never been able, I was like that person who stood in line, and if you just cut in front of me, I was not going to say a thing,
Well,
and
also, Nicole, you were a kid actor. We have a tendency to just BS people all the time because that's what we're taught to do. Because we don't make trouble. We just do our job and say
right.
yes, well, no matter what they ask us to do. And I have a feeling that's changing a little bit now.
I think so. Thank God.
God. That documentary series has definitely opened some eyes. I think it's really sort of it feels like the kid actor version of the Me Too movement is brewing and starting. Hopefully,
I
finally.
love that.
Yeah,
I know. Because Alyssa Milano and I were texting because we both watched it. Quiet on Set. For those of you who
Quiet
haven't
on
seen
Set.
it.
Exactly. Me too.
I mean, and it was chilling because we were around so many of those guys, and we knew all of them, and it just was like and we were texting each other like, did that happen to you? Like, oh my God, we were around, we were in that. And it's just and it really seems like a lot of the young boys were preyed on in our era. And the girls too, but the big thing was the boys, the young men. And I worked with Drake Bell before, and so it broke my heart to watch him sitting there telling his story. I just was like, if I had known, and that I could relate to him on that level, but everybody has to tell their story when they're ready. But oh my gosh, and then when you watch the stuff that they actually aired, what they got away with on Nickelodeon and on the website, I mean, I was sitting there like, my oldest watched these shows.
Yeah, my kids watched them too, and it didn't even like blow past me, that Amanda Bynes played a character whose last name was Taint.
Yeah.
On Nickelodeon.
How did I
tainted food, as in
yeah. Like who let's make a list of all the people who were not watching the show. They were approving the show and must not have been watching it. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt that they were just not paying attention. And my oldest, who grew up on these shows, called me and she's like, have you seen this? She's like, I'm sick to my stomach, because she grew up watching all this and this was all going on and being put in her mind. And it just was super eye-opening.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, we had, I'm a generation ahead of you. Where I'm the 70s TV kid. And there are a lot of us who suffered a great deal of trauma. I was lucky that I grew up on a set where that stuff was minimal. I mean, there was nothing nefarious going on, but there was stuff we were exposed to that we shouldn't have been. I mean, back in the 70s, the crews drank all day. There was a cooler for water and soda, a cooler for beer, and a cooler for popsicles when we were outside on the ranch. And that's just the nature of the beast. And we did do, like, in hindsight, we did some pretty dangerous things. My husband was watching an episode of Little House recently with a raccoon. And there's a scene where Melissa Sue Anderson and I are taking the raccoon to school on a rope. We have it tied around a full-grown raccoon. And they let the dog come running at us to scare the raccoon and then show that the raccoon and the dog are not going to get along. It was just us, and this raccoon was running up it's a raccoon.
Yeah,
it had
dangerous.
It bit the director, and it was running up our dresses. And my husband said, in what world do you send two children walking with the raccoon and then send the dog in to attack it? You can't do that now. And I said, you know what? You're right. It didn't even occur to me that was bad. Forget the fact that, I was married at 16 on television to a man who was in his 20s. Can't do that today.
Can't do that today. And you know what? Popped in my mind as you're talking about the raccoon and the dog. But you know why that's not okay? Because of animal activists, not because of
child actors. Not because anyone cared about the kids. It was the raccoon.
The animals, right? I know that's true.
Actually, yeah, PETA would go crazy over that before they realized that the raccoon was climbing up our legs.
Yeah. I mean, this is how little people looked out for kids on set.
That's hilarious and sad.
It is. It really is. You guys just did a big Little House reunion, didn't you? I saw that. I thought it was so flipping cool.
We did. It was incredible. It was incredible. There were about 19,000 people there. It was in Simi Valley where we shot. They geolocated where all the sets were on the ranch, and they put up actual size flats of everything and did a guided bus tour. And then they rebuilt 3 interiors in the convention center or whatever, or community center in Simi Valley. They had the little house, the Olson's Mercantile, and the school/church. It was so overwhelming. It was just 3 days of nonstop, people bursting into tears, and a lot of people wearing bonnets. And Modern Prairie had a tent there. We sold out on day 1 and had to pivot. We became a crafting tent, just a place for people to hang out. Yeah, it's remarkable. It's just the fact that those many people from 20 different continents or countries, and every continent in the world, there aren't 20 continents, but every continent in the world showed up. It's just unbelievable to me. Like, a friend of mine said, you wouldn't see this for the Rockford Files.
Right.
Right. There are very few shows that do that. You were on one. I was on one.
Did you get any like alone time? Because I know that other people are getting so emotional about it, but I figure like for you too, to like see that and the recreation of the sets and all of that probably brings back so much more than it does for the viewer. For
Yeah,
you,
well,
did you get any alone time?
Yes, although the 3 lead actors, Karen Grassley, who played Ma, Allison Arngrim, who played Nellie, and I went in a day early to do Good Morning America, and they actually filmed us seeing the sets for the first time. So we weren't alone, but we weren't in a crowd.
Yeah, because I figure you have to process that for
It takes
yourself
a second.
before you
It really
can like.
does. And all the cases of memorabilia and script notes and gifts that Michael had given to the crew, and pictures of Michael Landon and Victor French and Kevin Hagen, everyone who's passed away that was a part of the cast and crew. It was a really emotional 3 days for me. And the rest of a lot of the Prairie cast are doing numerous of these across the country the rest of the year. Not only am I not available, I don't have the emotional bandwidth for another weekend like that. It's a lot. My granddaughter came, and my kids came, and my brother was there, and we hadn't seen each other in decades. It was really, really moving.
Oh my gosh, in front of all those people.
Yeah, I again, my brother and I actually had dinner privately a few days before, so that,
Okay.
yeah. But it was still, I mean, he hadn't seen anybody who worked on the show in decades either. And so, there was a lot of screaming, Jonathan's here, and hugging and crying. And
Oh, you gotta love these things, but yeah, it's emotionally draining.
it is draining. It is draining. And a lot of people have a lot of feelings, that they want to share about Little House. A lot of people bursting into tears in my arms. And I was 3.5 weeks post-op of artificial disc surgery in my neck, so I couldn't really hug anybody, and it was a lot. But I'm so glad I was there. I'm so glad that I didn't miss it. I was so afraid that I was going to get COVID or something before and not be able to be there, and I didn't. I got a cold after, of course, but just a little head
being
cold.
around, being around so many people.
19,000 people. Yeah,
that's wild.
Yeah,
that's
it's crazy.
Amazing. What a good idea, though. I know I saw it, and I was like, the fangirl in me was like, I want to go.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun. Had I known, I could have put passes aside for you. Maybe we'll do it again on the 100th anniversary.
Yeah. We're still here.
Yeah, maybe 2 people will show up from the cast.
That'll be a whole nother kind of celebration. Oh my God, I love it.
Melissa, I'm just curious, is how many people come to you every day and say that you're such a big part of their childhood? I mean, I'll tell you, I had an older sister, 4 years older. She had no desire to have a younger brother, but we watched this show together. This is like the one thing we had in common, that we could sit and not fight over the TV. How many times do people say you don't understand what a big part of my childhood you were?
All the time. All the time. Especially of late, just because I'm sort of out there a bit more because of Modern Prairie. So I've been doing a lot more publicity and talk shows and interviews and stuff like that. I kind of was hanging back after my last book and not really doing a ton. So it's back in the ethos again. It really, really for me, the thing that blew my mind, forget the fact that it's been on the air for 50 years and we went into syndication while we were shooting, so it's never been off the air. During COVID, it had a massive resurgence. And that's when I realized, of course it did. This is everybody's comfort food. And they know these stories. They know what we're telling. And yeah, we did do some very soft, sweet episodes of things, but we also did we were telling the stories of America at that time, dealing with women's rights, Native American rights, chauvinism, racism, anti-Semitism, drug addiction, alcoholism. I mean, it was rape. It was all right there. It's just that people didn't really, it wasn't done exploitively. So it didn't register, it didn't hit as hard as other shows do. Well, we did an episode in the first season with Richard Mulligan playing a Civil War veteran who came home from the war addicted to morphine, which was a direct parallel to the Vietnam vets who were coming home addicted to heroin. That was the story we told. Yeah. But it was told, with bonnets and wagons instead. And it was scary. It was a scary episode, but people don't really, when they see Little House on the Prairie, they go, oh, it's such a sweet show. Yeah, when you're not, smoking morphine and dying.
Well, I guess because the news is so harsh that it's sort of like we're kind of numb to those topics. So when you see it in like the bonnets and the pretty atmosphere and the actors acting it, it's sort of like, yeah, it's stuff you're dealing with. So it's relatable, but like you said, it's in this comfort food way. It's, it's delivered differently.
Right. Yeah, it is. And I think that actually is the genius of Michael Landon. He was able to really executive produce that show and write and direct and star in it and tell the stories that were meaningful to him in that way. He learned that on Bonanza. They did that kind of stuff on Bonanza a lot too. So
yeah, truly, truly one of a kind. I mean, it was just, we all, like Dave said, I didn't have a brother to fight with, but we all watched that show. There was no fighting about watching Little House on the Prairie. Tell me about what becoming the president of SAG, Screen Actors Guild. I mean, what a thing to take on, and why?
I know. I said that to myself kind of every day. Those whole 4 years, there would be a moment every day where I'd go, "Why? What am I doing? Why did I do this?" First of all, I had years before I sued the National Enquirer, and the president of Screen Actors Guild at that time, Richard Masser, was a friend of mine, and the guild really supported this lawsuit because they were really getting into the invasion of privacy, infliction of emotional distress, all the stuff that the tabloids were really becoming problematic for. And a lot of people had sued at that point, and I took them to court. And so I told him when I settled the lawsuit, I said, if you ever need me, call me and I'd be happy to serve. Dum. What a big mouth. Because he called and said, I'm not going to be there anymore. Someone else is getting elected, but you should run for the board in the fall. And I did. A couple years later, I was going through a lot of stuff personally. My grandfather passed away, and it was a very emotional time for my family. And so I couldn't really get in there right away. But I ran for the board, I think in like 2000, and I got elected. And I mean, there's no training. You don't learn how, you just do it. And so I went to my first board meeting and I sat down just in amazement at the scope of what I was about to do. And a group of people walked up to me and said, there's a presidential election coming up. We want you to run. I said, I haven't even been to my first meeting. You're crazy. And what makes you think I could be the president of a union? And they said, well, nobody knew. James Cagney was the first one. He didn't know. Patty Duke, who I called and said, what do I do? And she said, do it. It's amazing. You'll learn more about yourself doing this than you will doing anything else in your life. So I thought about it long and hard and talked to a lot of people, but I still think I went into it with a little bit of a gidgety perspective. I didn't think I realized just how hard it would be and just how politically charged that environment is, with people who just instantly hated me because I didn't align myself with them politically. There were I had death threats when I got elected president, and I had to travel with armed bodyguards in the beginning.
Oh,
I
come
was the president
on.
of the actors union. Just cry at me. Don't kill me. You can
Oh my
just cry
God.
at me.
People are
It,
crazy. And that's then. That's
that's
in the
then.
early
It's
2000s.
worse now. It's way worse now. You know, I did what I could for 4 years. It's a volunteer position. There's no salary. And you get punished for doing it by the industry because you become the advocate for the actors, and all of a sudden they don't want you on set, so can't work. It was an incredible 4 years. I did some amazing things. I made some remarkable lifelong friends and advisors. I learned how to negotiate a $200 million contract. Where else am I going to do that?
Yeah.
And I was able to take care of the membership of hundreds of thousands of people and guarantee them some sort of living wage. And that was a big deal. I was also on the executive council of the AFL-CIO, and I was on the California Film Commission. So I was that really, I've always been an advocate and an activist, but that really woke me up.
That seems like a really hectic time. That's
It was
a lot of
crazy.
hats to wear.
It's a lot of hats to wear, and I have 4 boys at home.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot. And the SAG headquarters is in the Wilshire corridor, right next to the La Brea Tar Pits, and I lived on Mulholland Highway in Malibu.
Oh gosh.
The drive was hellacious.
Oh, and you had to be there every day?
Well, no, there were days. I mean, there were days where I would work from home, but I was there at least 2 or 3 days a week.
Oh, yeah, it's 2 to 3.
That drive. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
that drive.
Back then it was bad. It's got to be horrible now.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate leaving my little city. It's frightening out there.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's why I live in the mountains now.
I mean, talk about a pain. Talk about, and it's interesting because kind of circling back to what we were talking about earlier in your site with the women's group. It's funny because people don't realize how taxing like those years were for you. And then when you shift gears, it's finally becoming less stigmatized because you shift gears. It's not because you failed at what you were doing. It's because you're passionate about something else. Dave and I talk about this a lot because it's like any other professions except for the film and television industry, every other profession, if you change it, people are like, oh, good for you, good for it.
Right.
But if you leave the industry, it's because you can't get work, you failed, or you're a has-been. It's all of these stigmas. So it's so great to see, like, obviously you can tell that you're happy because it shows, because like you I don't think you've aged. And you can just be happy, but you can tell happy people, happy, successful people. And it's just I admire it so much because you're such you're a pioneer like that, and that you did that, and then now you're doing this, and you have 8 grandchildren, right? You have 8?
9. The 9th one was just born.
Oh my gosh.
Right? The little baby boy, little Casper, came about 3.5 weeks ago. He's so precious.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, being a Nana is just I have a whole new purpose for living. You know what? You made me think about something, Nicole, and this was really interesting for me. When I met my now husband and we fell in love, he was living back home. He's from Michigan, and he was living in Michigan. He'd left LA years before, hates Los Angeles. Hey, as he says, it's like living at the mall and working at the mall when you're in this business. And he said, listen, I'm really into you. That's the good news. The bad news is I live in Michigan. And I said, no, take me to Michigan. I have to leave LA so I can age. I've got to age. I was fighting it so hard, and I was like right in the system, Botox, fillers, hair color, workout. I spent so much time staring at myself in the mirror and analyzing every crow's foot and every line and every wrinkle and being afraid. And I had to leave LA to age. And I lived in Michigan. We lived in Michigan for 5 years. And that's when I stopped coloring my hair. Breast implants came out, no more stuff in my face. And it was that in and of itself was fascinating enough. And then moving to New York and restarting my theater career again, which is so fulfilling and massively satisfying. Every article after that time and every interview, people say she left Hollywood. I didn't. I just moved out of LA. I didn't leave the business. I just moved out of LA. I just couldn't live at the mall and work at the mall anymore. I'm still here. I'm still acting.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird. They put you in this box. You have to stay in this box. Otherwise you're
They don't know what to do with
you.
They don't know what to do with you. They don't know what to do with us. And there are a lot of really strong, brave, incredible women aging ahead of me in this business too, who are saying like Helen Mirren and Meryl Streep and Sally Field. The list goes on and on and on and on. They are forces to be reckoned with, and they are the generation ahead of me. So here comes me, and I'm going to keep punching and kicking and fighting for you.
Love that. And you are like the ideal of like a woman can do it all, and it doesn't have to all be done at the same time. It can all be done in phases. You're never quitting anything. You're fully successful at just all these different things. And it's just, it's inspiring. It's inspiring for me, if I do anything else except acting, I just get hit with it. Aging, the ageism, the she aged out, the has been, the this, the that, and so it's so great to see, the people that we looked up to and that we watched stand up and be like, wait a minute, wait a minute. So you're really laying that groundwork and you're not that far ahead of me. I'm right on your tail. It's great to not be alone in it. Is a better way of saying it.
Again, that's why we created Modern Prairie, but also it goes beyond that. I mean, we really have to consider ourselves as a community of humans that live together. We're so separatist, so many of us, in so many different ways, and it just doesn't serve us in the long run. I mean, we're going to separate ourselves right off the planet if we're not careful.
Nothing is more true. And women particularly, because men have always had a way of making things work, whether they saw eye to eye or not. I don't know, men, whatever. But women somehow were like really pitted against each other for so long, and I felt like women, I can only speak for myself, but felt so insecure for so many reasons because of all the stigmas and everything else like that. I think insecurity leads to, cutting off and, not reaching out to other women and things like that. So it's so wonderful to see in this lifetime of it, all those walls coming down and all these changes being made, because having, our younger girls, it's like they're growing up so differently than we did.
Mm-hmm.
They really are, the way they encourage each other. And you have this online thing with it that's terrible, I guess. My girls are not growing up like that. I see my girls really loving other women and looking at other women and admiring them and taking like good from it. And so it just, I don't know, it makes my heart really full.
I think one of the things we have to do too is to stop trying to be perfect all the time. What's wrong with being imperfectly perfect? I actually, when I knit something, I knit in a mistake intentionally because I want it to be imperfectly perfect because it's coming from me.
Well,
so
that's
there's always one stitch that's off somewhere. Nobody.
I love that.
But I do it for me because I don't want to keep. I spent so much of my life being perfect. I don't want to do that anymore.
And you can't be. It's not a thing, right? Like perfect.
No,
and if something was perfect, it's like a robot or boring or, the interesting things is quirks. Quirks are what make things interesting, right? The ups and the downs, the bumps, the craters, all of these things that happen that cause the not so pretty is what makes it interesting.
Yep. 100%. 100%. I also heard another quote or read a quote the other day, and I'm going to get it wrong. and I think it was Albert Einstein, who said, "I never fail. I either succeed or I learn."
Yeah. This is such good life advice.
Mhm.
I know it's funny because we've come so far in that way. And then I was watching on the news today that there's an AI beauty pageant coming out.
I
And
saw that this morning too. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me.
what are we doing? Where are we going with this? And they're making so much money and they're profiting off of this. And you're just like, I don't know. But I guess on the other side of that coin, at least it's like fake women. It's not putting real young girls through it again. But
I have to tell you, the most heinous program I ever watched was The Swan. Do you remember that game
yes.
reality show where they would take a woman and completely plastic surgery her entire being?
Yeah.
And
Yes. To make her more appealing.
what
Yes.
were we doing? Who, what?
I know. It's true. It's true. It's true. It's true. And we can talk about it, but like I fell into the breast implant thing. It sounds like you did too. And so it's like we all kind of went there at some point, but it's such a regret for me at least. And I'm so happy to see the young girls like really embracing different body types and and being happy with their natural bodies. And on the other side of that coin, you see all these girls walking in from behind. They all look like the Kardashians, and you turn around, you're like, wait, is that a Kardashian? And all these women look the same. And you're like, oh my God. But I think that generation is a little bit older. And I think these younger kids are just not having that anymore. And
I would hope not, for the sakes of my granddaughters. I would love to see them not have to grow up with that. And one of the problems is, it's a little endemic too. I mean, we have these examples of people like the Kardashians, and that's sort of the beauty template. But then if you ever do any cross-country driving, it's fascinating to me because we do it a ton because we're always I feel like we're in the military. We're always moving to some strange city for months at a time. And so we're always hitching up the wagons and driving cross country. If you drive cross country, what you will see is the billboards: fast food, plastic surgery, church, fast food, plastic surgery, fast food, plastic surgery, church. What are we telling people? Eat what you want, go get it lipoed out, then go to church and pray. And then eat some more and have it lifted. And then, I don't, it's mind boggling. This is America.
it is. This is America. But it seems like LA in particular really falls into actually doing it. It's like I don't think I've gone to other cities and I don't
Have you
quite
been to
see the
Dallas?
same thing. Yeah, all the women here
Dallas
kinda look the same.
Dallas is catching.
Dallas, okay.
Dallas and Atlanta are following in a close second to LA as far as like that weird, puffy, overfilled cheek, tiny nose, big lip look goes.
Yeah. Yeah, you can have this whole section, this age group where they all look exactly the same. It's so bizarre.
I know. I always wonder well, I've taken all this stuff out of my body, but while I was in my body, I used to think, I wonder what my body's going to be like when I'm dead. Is it just going to be a skeleton with 2 sacks of silicone? Or I had to get them out just for that, just because. There's going to be like a group of grave robbers in Los Angeles in like 100 years, and they're going to open up all these graves, and there's just going to be sacks of silicone everywhere, lips and
Chins and cheeks,
boobs,
bums. There's going to be bums and
boobs, chins, and cheeks.
yeah.
It's going to be an interesting, like study of where man has gone and who we were.
Ooh, yeah, that's so creepy. I do still have my implants, but they will obviously be coming out soon. And I'll be so happy about that. I mean, oh my God.
I do not regret for a second that I did it. It's one of the best things I ever did for myself. My shoulders felt better, my neck felt better, and I didn't feel, what they don't tell you is you have to replace them constantly.
Yeah, right.
The rest of your life. And I am of a belief that, you only get so many anesthesias. And the idea of being in my 80s and having to have new implants put in is just anathema. It just seems like the opposite of healthy.
It really is. It is. And a lot of people don't get them removed and have issues with them, and the cost that comes along with it. All of the things. It's just, yeah, it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea, people. Leave the plastic parts out.
Yeah, leave your boobies alone.
Yeah.
Unless you
Yeah.
have to do something medically,
Right.
obviously.
That's different. But yeah, be happy in your skin. And different is better. Different is always cooler and more interesting.
Yeah, I'm sitting here staring at you, and you're just a stunningly beautiful human person.
Thank
really
you.
are just a beaut, and the bravest, really one of the bravest people. You were talking about how I'm a fighter. Takes one to know one for sure.
Well, it's because you see other people doing it, and then you know it's okay to do it, to be it. It takes a village of people to. You can't just do it by yourself. Otherwise, you're just this lone soldier.
Yeah, and you've stood up for what you believed and what you know to be true, regardless of everybody throwing bombs at you and saying, it's not, particularly certain individuals who shall remain nameless, because I don't even want to give them a moment.
Yeah.
And the courage of your conviction to stand up and say, no, this is the truth. This is my truth. This is what happened, and you cannot take that away from me, is huge and a wonderful gift to your daughters.
Yes. And a wonderful gift to myself, because I didn't realize, like, holding on to that. And I don't want to say that that's what made me ill, but I'm saying there is something to holding on to trauma and then releasing it, the difference it makes on everything. The way
Yeah.
you see things, the way you think things, the way you process, the way everything goes. When you finally really let go of things, it's miraculous. And I worry about people who take things like to the grave, because at the end of the day, you're only hurting yourself. You really
100%.
don't. Yeah.
100%.
So I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much, because yeah, it's been it was kind of the hardest time, and also just the best time that I had to go through it.
Yes, you
I had-
did, and it is an incredibly impactful thing that you did, and it impacted me too. So know that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, you were so wonderful.
Oh, God love you. You're so sweet. On a happy note, actually, my godmother was a writer on Charles in Charge.
Oh, is that
Mitzi,
right?
Mitzi McCall
Oh, yeah.
Brill.
Oh, I didn't know that's your godmother. Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Oh, I love her. She's such a character. Oh,
I
she's
know.
amazing.
I know. And I'm so grateful that you had her wackiness around while you were experiencing what you were experiencing, because I know she provided, and didn't realize it, an escape at times,
Oh,
just
for
by
sure.
being her healing self. Yeah.
Comic relief, and just, changing the tone when she's on set. And
Yep.
yes, all of this. And your sister too, Sarah, really helped me out and gave me a platform, and Alexander and I, to speak about what we experienced on set. And that was amazing, because a lot of people were still scared of, letting us talk and telling our story. But she was so supportive. So
Good. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
we have a tendency to stick together. We former kid actors. It's a unique way to grow up, and it is something that you can't even begin to imagine. They're just little things that we all experience that are common to us all, like the saying yes thing, and never saying no, and never starting trouble, and wearing whatever they tell you to wear. And it's a unique way to grow up that can really mess people up if it's not done right. And I'm lucky.
Yeah.
I am the least messy, and I'm messy, so emotionally. But
Yeah, we all are.
yeah, we are, and that's a good thing, and it's a bad thing.
But it's one thing we all have in common, and it's so nice to meet up and catch up with people who also experience it and are at the successful place in life later, and we can look back and go, what was that?
Yeah,
Whoa.
That's my tribe. Kid actors are my tribe. You're in my tribe. People do not understand what we've been through. They never will until they've done it. And it's that unique an experience. The family dynamic of being the highest earner in a family when you're 9, stuff like that it's weird. It's just damn weird.
Yeah, you're this little like moneymaker, but yet you're being told what to wear, where to stand, what to say, where to be, how to act. Like, you're also this empty, you're like this little robot that has to do what they're told all the time. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's
And
weird.
if you're like me, you're a moneymaker who's earning all this money, but still only getting 50 cents allowance on Sundays.
Yeah. Well, you had good parents.
Yeah, exactly. No, oh boy. I mean, no matter what the day was like, I'd have to come home and pick up the dog poop and load and unload the dishwasher.
Same.
It keeps you grounded.
Yeah, it really does. There was no special treatment for little actresses in our house.
No, and we all were. And no, no, it was not like other houses. Like in our house, when I was getting ready to do the Miracle Worker, I just told a friend the story. I was doing my prep and I was walking around the house for weeks on end with earplugs and blindfold on because I was playing Helen Keller. And like for about 2 months there, all you heard from me was ow, step, 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 ow, ooh, constantly walking into things and stubbing my toes. And, ow. So unusual to say the least.
Yeah. Home video of that, like surveillance video of that.
Oh.
What's she doing? I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us and sharing with us.
Oh, thanks for having me. This was just delightful. I'm so glad we were able to work it out.
Yeah, me too. I was so excited. So, yeah, thank you.
You bet. You have my email now, so we can stay in touch.
Perfect. I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah. At some point, we'll have an offline conversation about the other stuff too, because I do have insights and things to share.
Oh, great. Okay.
Oh, love yeah.
That. Okay. I can imagine. Yep. Not surprised.
We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, we will. That's for us.
Thank you, Melissa. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. This was great. This was just great. I had
happy travels home, because I know you're excited to get home. So enjoy that.
Thank you. I will. I'm going to enjoy every step of the way. Even packing the boxes, which is normally just such a pain, is a joy. It means home.
Music on, stuff in boxes. Let's go.
Oh yeah, I've had disco on all morning. Oh, gosh.
Good. Okay, thank you.
Take care, guys. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes.
That was cool. Now I feel like I have to call my sister.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Right.
That was
awesome. For me, it's me. I'm like, I get to be here.
That's cool.
What a cool, down to earth, smart person, right? Like
she was everything I expected. There was nothing in there that surprised me, but I knew she was smart. I mean, I've watched her interviewed a bunch of times when she was, obviously representing SAG, and you're going, man, this is a lot. It's so funny that you said why and I said why also at the same time. Like, we both know you're getting into a fight that's not going to be rewarding. It is not going to be a fun job when you're representing all these people that you got to think how many people on both sides are going to be upset with you. Like, you can't win. It's so time consuming in a fight that you have no chance of winning, friends. It's a tough position, but good for her. I mean, she is a leader for sure.
A leader. Yeah. And I don't mean like I didn't expect her not to be smart, but not all smart people are so down to earth and entertaining and relatable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes smart people can talk and I don't know what they're saying. You know what I mean? So it's like she's just the whole ideal package. So I was like, that was great.
There you go. All right, hey, I want to get to your mailbag because last week we had a long interview and we didn't get a chance to get the mailbag. The mailbag's starting to jump up with questions, so I'm going to
Okay.
combine two listeners two viewers who have questions. But again, if you want to ask a question, and Nicole, all you have to do is go to the website perfectlytwistedpod.com. Look at the mailbag; it's right at the top. Submit your questions, and we'll do our best to get them on here. But have about 7 of them for you today. Okay. So if you want to go long answer, fine. If you want to go short answer, fine. First ones are going to be from Joseph Cabral. He says, Nicole, what were some of your favorite TV shows while growing up?
Little House on the Prairie.
There you go.
Yeah, Little House on the Prairie, The Love Boat, Gilligan's Island, Fantasy Island, Charlie's Angels, I Love Lucy. It goes on and on, but that, we didn't get a lot of TV time either growing up. So it was, but the Brady Bunch, I loved it.
Yeah. There you go. What's funny is this morning I was walking with some guys in the neighborhood and we were talking about, and Melissa Gilbert's name came up, and one of the guys that walks with us was born in the 80s, and the other guy was born in the 70s, and we're talking about different TV shows. Like we said, you didn't get a lot of options, but Jeffersons and Alice and different shows that we're watching, and then somehow the TV show Maude came up. And I said to the one guy born in the 80s, like, you have no idea what we're talking about. But I go, we were probably like 3 or 4 when Maude was on, but it was a show that, your parents always had on. It was one of those shows. And he's looking at us like we're crazy. What do you mean you didn't have multiple options and you didn't have a VHS player? And, we said if you were out eating dinner on a Tuesday night, you missed Happy Days. You had to pray for a rerun to catch the episode that you missed. And he was just, his head was just exploding could not believe that and before call waiting and all the stuff that we grew up on as we saw things that changed dramatically. I honestly believe you and I grew up in the best generation as far as the way things have developed that are so part of our lives.
Oh, for sure. I wouldn't change it for anything. The call waiting, that's so funny. I remember when call waiting came out and the first time I had a call waiting, I was like, what in the hell is that noise? I was on the phone. I was like, what is that noise? You remember it was like that little clicking noise. And I was like, what the fuck is that? Yeah. Love it.
Next question from Joseph is, Nicole, what's a great place to hang out in Los Angeles?
Oh my gosh. Well, it depends what you want to do. I mean, by hang out, I I love like the Reservoir. I love a lot of like the Sunday markets. You meet a lot of cool people and see a lot of cool products and local designers and things like that. The beach is amazing. Restaurants and lounges and stuff like that. The list is so long. Lots of cool places downtown LA to be discovered. And there's just so much to do in LA. It's that's why I'm still here. That's why I haven't left. It's a very cool place.
Next question is, Nicole, what are some of your pet peeves? Do you have any pet peeves? You have to have something that drives you crazy.
Okay, I have something that's driving me crazy. I was talking about it with a friend driving the other day. Okay, when you are going to make a right-hand turn, people, when you have let us all know, you have slowed all the way down, move the fuck over. Get over. Like when you have the space, get over to the right and then make that right-hand turn. It is not only more safe, okay, but it allows the other traffic to keep going. You are not the only driver on the road. You drive me crazy. Move over, go to the right lane. Same with the left, but left is, you don't see it as much. But the right-hand turns. People who lay on their horn. Oh my God, I can't stand you. I can't stand you. I can't. People who don't put their shopping carts back. You're a loser. I could go on and on and on, but those are my pet peeves of the moment.
Good. Those are good enough. I always find something every day, I think, that starts to bother me. But I'm with every single one of them you just said. Next question's from Adriana Pruitt. Says, Nicole, I was completely envious of your wardrobe on Charles in Charge. Did you ever get to keep or borrow any of the clothes?
You know what's so funny is that we were like making trends and we were trend setting, and I didn't want to wear any of those clothes in my personal life. I wore a lot of like all black I wore, like leather jackets and ripped jeans and boots and stuff like that, which was not it was not Jamie's style. It was not my character's style. I like had this, I lived vicariously through it because I would go to Esprit and I would go and see like what was coming out, and I knew what I wanted for that character. So I was happy to wear it for the show. And, I think I made scrunchy socks a trend. Like nobody was doing that. But I mean, I took that to the next level. So it was really fun for the show, but then I left it there. So no.
Okay. Nicole, what foods do you despise?
I think things like hot dogs and yellow mustard, mayonnaise. Mm, a lot of just really like unhealthy unhealthy, readily available food that everybody
Yeah.
seems to be ingesting, that I just, in being European, like we didn't have yellow mustard. Like yellow mustard was not in my household. I always knew of just mustard being brown, and most of the time having seeds in it and coming out of a metal tube, because Germans were big on mustard. But so there's so many like American things. I don't like ice.
You don't like ice?
No, no. I don't
Wow.
get it. I don't. I don't get
Wow.
it. I get it if I'm using a straw sometimes, but if that ice touches my teeth, yeah. Again, it's a European thing. There's no ice. We didn't have ice
Yeah, I
in
know.
I didn't grow up having ice in our house. We didn't have an ice maker or anything
Oh
like
my
that. We never
gosh.
had ice. Yeah, no
So
such
if you're in
thing.
a restaurant and they serve you a drink with ice in it, do you say take it back?
No, but I'll ask for it without. But so some things like if they're using,
Wow.
like, those good environmental straws, then I'm fine with the ice because then I can use the straw.
Yeah.
And then then it's fine because I've just become accustomed to it. But if I'm at home and I'm making something, I don't put ice in it.
Wow. That is
Yeah.
that is mind blowing to me. That's interesting. Yeah, I know ice isn't a thing in Europe, but that it's funny. I'm like almost like an ice snob. Like there's certain ice I'll go, all right, I need to get this machine in my house. Like, it's insane.
It's a
That's
very
funny,
American
right?
thing.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I know. Well, hell, I was born in Los Angeles. I don't know what to
Yeah.
say.
No, I
Yeah.
know. As I
Yeah.
was, but, in our household is in your
Yeah.
household is where you learn these things, right?
Of
Yeah.
course. Wow. What about your daughters? Do they
Yeah,
stay away
they're
from
not
ice?
big ice people either.
Wow.
I think my
Okay.
oldest, they'll do things like, crunch ice just to, like, get under my skin, and they think it's so funny. And then my youngest finally said, "I will never be doing that again, just so you know, because
Yeah.
I can't stand it." She goes, "Secretly, I would do it to bother you, but it bothers me more." And, so I don't know. I think my oldest, I don't really know where she stands on it, but I think we're all just like, it's ice, like, if they serve it to you, but I don't
Yeah.
think we, like, fill our cups with it at home. Mm-mm.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. Okay. There you go. All right, Nicole, is there a food you cook or used to cook that your daughters request?
Well, it goes in phases, right? So,
Yeah.
Thanksgiving is one that there's some dishes that they love, and so I stick to the same menu. And now my daughter, when she's in New York, if we're not together, she asks me for the recipes and she makes some of her favorites. So there's some Thanksgiving things, but uh my youngest right now I'm cooking for, she really likes, I grill, so they like the grill. So we make a lot of carne asada tacos and
Nice.
carne asada and avocado. Um, and I make like these little like tortilla pockets. So it's sort of like something you might find at Taco Bell where it's like lettuce and cheese and avocado and carne asada, and I wrap it in this thing and then I fry it. Um, Things like that. That's something she keeps asking for, but they're really open. They're really open. We're all just kind of like we're kind of that thing of like, what do you want to eat today? We don't like to
Yeah,
plan out meals because what if you don't feel like eating that? Then that's
exactly.
no fun. So
Yeah.
we do it day by day, but they
There you
like my
go.
cooking in general. I lucked out there.
Nice. All right, last question is, Nicole, what's the first concert you attended?
Okay, the first concert I ever attended is because my mother dragged me there. My mom and her best friend at the time, um, drug me and her daughter, my friend Heather Haas, who I'm still friends with. Um, to Rod Stewart at the Forum in LA. And I swear to God, it's also the first time I ever got a contact high.
Ah,
And they let us dress up. We were in like when spandex pants were in, those like high-waisted spandex pants with the pockets. And I don't know, there was a store on Melrose that made them specifically. And her and I went and got our spandex pants for the concert. And but for me on my own, from my own choosing, I believe it was Depeche Mode.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of them. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Not
Yes.
bad. Not bad.
Yes.
There you go. All right, well,
So
there you go.
also,
Appreciate the questions. Yeah.
yeah, I love the questions. They get me, they always get me thinking and reminiscing, and that's always fun. Also, I wanted to say I'll put this on my Amazon store for the contour kit that you can get on Amazon. I'll put it in my store too for easy accessibility.
Perfect. And don't forget, please click the thumbs up, the like button, and subscribe if you haven't done that already. But appreciate everybody that, of course, checks in every single week.
Yes, we love you. We love you, love you, love you. And thank you for letting us be here and tuning into us. And we will see you next week.